Good afternoon and welcome into Crossing the Aisle. Yeah, that did it. And it is April 2nd.
Did you hit live?
Yes, it's April 2nd, which is Autism Awareness Day. So I'm wearing blue for that. And if you know me at all, you know that I have a son with autism who is vaccine injured. So I'm actually wearing my Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights blue shirt because we want to remember all of those who are vaccine injured and who do struggle with being on the spectrum. And again, it is April 2nd. So, Sean, that means yesterday was April 1st, which was
April Fools.
Election Day.
Yeah, right. And we sure, well, somebody got fooled, and he's the current incumbent mayor for a very short period of time. It looks like now. Thank the good Lord. Thank good Lord for that. So that's what appears to happen. So anyway, yep, we had an election yesterday. Everybody focused on that, and what you call it, and if you were paying attention, the biggest thing about it was kind of unexpected. The margin of victory that State Senator John Horhn had in this race, which is around 48.8%, close to 49%.
Yeah.
Mayor Yacht Party Chokwe Lumumba had 16.8%. God, Chokwe, that's so pathetic, dude. Like, you only could get like just a little over 4,000 votes. That's all you could do. After all your rhetoric that you've been talking about, how, free the land and,
the land is almost free.
It's about to be free, buddy. But somebody else isn't. And and I think, that was something that shocked us. Unfortunately, Senator Horhn was not able to hit that 50+1 percentage to be able to avoid this runoff.
Came so close.
Came very close. But he had 11,909 votes to Chokwe Lumumba's 4,124 votes. Very close. If you look at the other challengers, Timothy Henderson, good showing, 3,371 votes. Delano Funches, 2,034. Marcus Wallace, 1,004. And Socrates Garrett came in with 648 votes. And David Archie, 533. And there's list goes on. Now, if some of these candidates had not ran, we'd be talking.
This would be over with.
Yeah, we'd be having a celebration in the studio right now because the reign of terror of Chokwe Lumumba would be over with. Fortunately, it's not. So we've got a few more weeks. But the good news, y'all, is I've done a lot of calling around research since last night, this morning, and it appears that the mayor's pathway to victory is near impossible. And what he was saying last night, if you watched WLBT, he said that Republicans came and stole. Basically, he didn't say stole. He said voted in the Democrat, infiltrated.
Which,
the Democrat.
I mean, Democrats have always been for this crossover voting. I mean, let's not forget that.
Well, yes, and that's true. And that was my next point. So the Republicans actually in 2014 used that against the Thad Cochran Republicans against Chris McDaniel and took him out, thank God. And, in 2014. So it was used very effectively because I remember 2014, I was living downtown and I used to vote at Battlefield Park. And so I went down there and I remember voting in the Republican primary, which is something I'd never done before. And it was me and like 30 black dudes all standing in the line. And I was like, yo, like we're all standing in the Republican. I'm like the only white guy that votes over there. And because I lived in King Edward at the time. And
you don't vote in the Republican line either.
No, but we all did that day because we're voting for Thad. Like, because it was Christmas, so it was all Democrats voting for that. So anyway,
which I disagree with, by the way.
I don't disagree with it. You could vote for her. You should be able to vote for who you want to. Like, I have no problem with that whatsoever. But and you could see it worked to get rid of McDaniel, and it worked to get rid of Chokwe Lumumba. But it wasn't all. My point was, it wasn't all.
It worked for you to get rid of McDaniel. Well, that's not what I wanted.
Worked for this is 2014. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And worked for the state of Mississippi.
It did not. You're so ridiculous.
It absolutely did.
We'll argue about this later.
It absolutely did. But this time it wasn't Republicans that put him over the mark. Now it helped, but so I made some calls to some officials that are in the know, and the numbers are not like what they would Republican numbers during statewide elections, and they're just slightly above city, normal city election. So a little bit above 2021 when nobody voted. So
still not a big turnout.
No, it's a very low turnout, but the Republican people that you would assume to be Republicans that voted in the Democratic primary was not enough, but just to give Horhn a few percentage points, not the massive victory he got. So what it was, Chokwe, Democrats voted against you. That is what happened last night, even though you don't want to admit that because it's going to hurt your little feelings. But they voted against you because you have, and I have a few couple things to say. What you've done is you've allowed people's children to be murdered in the street for 8 years.
That's what I was going to say.
You've destroyed the water system. The infrastructure is ruined. The traffic lights don't work. And I can't tell you, I was thinking about this morning, Lindsay. When I was assistant DA for 10 years, I did homicide cases. And, I spoke to so many victims of crimes. You don't know how many mothers I had in my office discussing their kids getting killed.
Yeah.
Just this. And, what happened just like 2 weeks ago at the St. Patty's Day parade, the man that was killed was a client of mine. I told you all about that. And he was a really good kid. I know reports or whatever, but my personal relationship was good. His mother and family are wonderful. And I had to get a call from her. And that's, it is so hard to talk to people's mothers or fathers when their kids have been killed. And what I'm getting at here is there is one person's fault this is in my mind, and it's Chokwe Lumumba's fault. And the voters saw that, and they voted resoundingly against it. So,
well, he has allowed the gangs to come in and basically run most of Jackson.
Correct. And all these people have died because of it. Because he's taken
close to 1,000, close to 1,000 murders, not just deaths, but cold-blooded murders in the city of Jackson.
It's a genocide. That's what he's allowed to. He's not supported law enforcement. He's actively fought against it, and that's what you have. And the city has gone to absolute ruin because of it, and people's kids are dead because he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care. And, I think this may have come as a shock to him. I really believe he thought that he had this in the bag. I don't think he felt like he needed to be out fundraising for this election. And what's strange is that he made statements to some news outlets saying that he would be at home watching the numbers come in with his wife and his kids, his family. And instead, he did actually have a watch party, and I guess he planned to be celebrating. And then obviously we saw that did not happen. So I wonder how he's feeling this morning with that resounding voice of Jacksonian saying, we are sick of this, we are fed up, and we're ready to vote and say no more.
Yeah, I think, it's got to be tough for him because, well, what he did, he had a lot of people out there like Othar Kane and Kamikaze playing a race hustle.
Brad Franklin, Kamikaze.
Yeah, playing a race hustle and trying to tell people that this was an us versus them election and that Chokwe was being unfairly attacked. And they
still are. They're still spewing that this morning.
Yeah, and all it is about a consolidation of power within a select few. It's the white Northeast Jackson Republicans wanted John Horhn. There isn't that many of them left anymore. Christ United used to be an 85% Republican precinct. This morning I discovered it's 60% Democrat now. This city is not controlled by Republicans. It is overwhelmingly Democrat. It's going to be Democrat, and that was just a narrative they were using to retain the power of the Lumumba administration. It did not work. It did. No. Thank God that good black folks, good white folks saw and saw with their own eyes what's happened to the city. And I think another thing that was one of my favorite things waking up this morning thinking about, and I wrote a post about it, was this morning Chokwe Lumumba woke up, got his coffee, and he realized that he is totally effed. And here's what I mean. He had a bargaining chip as mayor of Jackson with the federal government. He could maybe trade that for a plea deal, resign, maybe do some time, lose his law license, something like that. Or let's say he went to trial. He would use that during the trial like a witch hunt, Are
you going to defend him? Are you going to be?
No, absolutely not. No, he is guilty till proven innocent in my mind. The other way around. So he could have used that in the trial, saying that this is a political prosecution, it's a witch hunt, Donald Trump, all that stuff, and use that to his advantage with the jury. He is not, or in the public. Yeah. He can't do that anymore because in 3 weeks he is about to be. Well, he won't leave office.
What has he got now? What has he got as not mayor? What are we thinking he's going to do after this? Obviously,
he's going to go to prison, is what most likely is going to happen. But so right now he's got. If I'm his lawyers and we're sitting in a room, he's got very limited options. His main option is he's got to flip on somebody. That being probably the district attorney, yeah, and because I don't think they care about sit at the kiddie table, Aaron Banks. I don't think anybody cares about him at this point.
No, I don't.
The feds will probably let him go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that his best option is to provide testimony against the district attorney, and he better do it quick, because if I'm the district attorney, what I'm thinking right now is I better make a decision.
I better go and use my testimony against him before he does it to me, now that he won't have any bargaining chips left after this election in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got, a short 3-week window to make a decision. Now, if you're Chokwe, you can mind F yourself and say, oh, I'm going to win. Everybody around him's got, if they have any sense, he cannot win. There is no pathway. It is extremely difficult for him to pull this off.
And in fact, there are 850 absentee votes out there. I don't think that's enough to put him at the 50 plus 1, but still, it could even mean that he got more votes than what we know of.
And he probably did. Also, I mean, some numbers that are interesting for, if you're Chokwe, and I'm sure they're going to look at this. If you look at a lot of the Northeast Jackson precincts, it was Horhn, then Tim Henderson, then Chokwe. Tim Henderson outperformed Chokwe Lumumba. Those votes, anybody voted for Tim Henderson is not going to automatically become a Chokwe Lumumba voter.
No, absolutely not.
And Tim got 3,371 votes.
Their votes are automatically going to be shifted to Horhn.
If they get back out, they're going to John Horhn. So he's a political dead man walking, and he knows it. We know it. She know it, as everybody says.
I'm hearing through the grapevine, to keep our phones close by, that we should be getting some breaking news concerning Chokwe Lumumba here in the next few minutes.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't be surprised if, like you've said, Lindsay, and you know how you work with me, you know how I handle my clients and stuff. If you got a smart lawyer, what a smart lawyer is doing right now is trying to work out a deal. I would have been at the federal courthouse or wherever the U.S. Attorney's office is and trying to talk to somebody this morning.
Yeah,
because I know
maybe that's what he's done. I don't know what this breaking news is going to be, but
we'll see.
They're saying it should happen before our show's over.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, you have a limited time, and now it's kind of like a Hunger Games between Jody and Chokwe. Who is going to rat out who first? Because before yesterday, Chokwe had the thing of, if he had won from last night, if he won in 3 weeks, this train could keep on rolling for another 15 months easily it would have, and he'd been able to push the rhetoric, raise money in Detroit like he'd been doing, and play that game that you can play with the media when you're on trial, when you're a public official on trial. I get it. Lots of public, he wouldn't be the first one to do it. So now that once he's no longer mayor, he's just some dude on the street. He's got no value.
Well, at least he can play the part. I mean, look at the way he looked when he walked in to qualify.
He can.
She'll be able to play that part pretty well, because he certainly looked like a dude walking in off the street.
Right. I mean, and you don't have the bargaining chip. So now he's got it within these 3-week window. But also, if you're District Attorney Owens, you're thinking, you're smart enough to think, wait a second, Chokwe,
this doesn't look good for me.
This don't look good for
Maybe
me.
I need to make a move here first. Use my chess piece over here before he's able to do it.
I would.
I'm sure he's got attorneys who are advising him of this as well.
They have to be. They'd be derelict in their duty if they were not saying that the political landscape has completely changed this federal trial for both of them. Which one of you are going to play ball now? I mean, because at the end of the day, Lindsay, and you and I have talked about that case ad nauseum. There's photographs of these two idiots on a yacht taking money. I mean, at the end of the day, we can talk about all the political rhetoric you want, or what would the legalistic part of it, or what. But one thing I know, I've tried over 100 jury trials, something crazy like that. One thing I know is juries are not stupid most of the time. They can see through the BS.
Right.
And you put pictures of those two guys on that yacht and talk about them going to the strip club and taking money, moving bid deadlines, setting up fake companies.
And from what we understand, there is more to come. There is more that's more to come that we're not aware of yet.
Juries generally are not stupid, and they're going to see through it. They're not going to listen to the crap. And now it gets worse. And so I think they need to have a come to Jesus meeting with themselves and, kind of decide which one of you guys going to rat first.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the Sammy Gravano?
Who's it going to be?
So,
well, we're going to take a quick break, but we've got lots more to talk about, especially given the fact that Chokwe Lumumba seems to be on his way out, and maybe we really can save Jackson, and should have some breaking news here shortly. So stay with us. We will be right back, crossing the aisle here on WYAB. Welcome back into Crossing the Aisle, where my co host Sean over here is venting and celebrating and just tearing Chokwe a new one all the way around.
I've been waiting for this for quite some time.
So I'll let you take it, Sean.
Sure. Yeah. No problem.
He's loving this way too much.
Yeah, it's something I've waited for quite a while to see this because, Lindsay, we were talking yesterday and I told you that I didn't think this was possible. I really believed that it either would have been very close or he would have possibly, been the leader by a far margin. That didn't happen. That is like, I guess, some of the most encouraging news I've seen out of the city in decades. Actually, I'll say it that far. It's people weren't buying it, what he was selling, and it was nice to see because, and I've always said this, like working at Jackson so long, working in the DA's office, like, black folks and white folks want the same things, and like, and it's not, and people like sometimes confuse that and think like it's not, that they don't, but they do.
Well, there are certain people who cause division.
Yeah, and right, and like that's what I was saying. Othar Kane was race hustling the whole thing, and like people can see clearly when they drive down the roads and they got to get a front end alignment. They can see that they talk to their neighbor who lost 3 sons in a year. I've seen those cases of that.
Yeah,
they see that we didn't have water for a month that the state had because the mayor mismanaged the plant, and then to top it off, the cherry on top is that he is casually hanging out on an FBI yacht in Miami
or the strip club,
Let's
not forget that
using
either.
federal tax dollars to go to the strip club. And he's trying to sell that like that's okay. And again, that goes back to my argument about what I was saying about the jury. Like he can say, oh, I didn't do anything. But to your average citizen, your average smart citizen, because they're not dumb, is you were on a yacht in Miami where the FBI gave you campaign contributions. That on its face sounds unethical as hell.
Yeah.
And there's nobody that could argue. If you're arguing against that, then you're just so in the weeds
But there are some people who are. I mean, there are some people who are.
Yeah, like, his family members and a few like hardcore supporters, but anybody else that is a reasonable human being, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, can see that that's completely messed up. I'll give you an example. Bob Menendez, the Democratic senator. I'm obviously a Democrat. The dude was talking about
unfortunately.
The dude was talking about hiding gold and cash and tying up in his suits because he learned it in Cuba. By the way, he didn't grow up in Cuba. His parents did. Okay, I'm a Democrat, but I can tell you this: he's full of crap. Like he's a criminal, and he got convicted. Like we can admit when people on our sides are criminals. Chokwe Lumumba is a criminal, and the the fact that he is trying to sell like, no, that was perfectly fine. I was on the yacht taking money, moving the bid deadline. Nothing to see here. Well, you know what? The people of Jackson said, yep, there was a lot to see here.
I loved how last night when he spoke after the numbers came in, he said, I'm here, but for the grace of God, but Jesus. And and I thought, yeah, you're here, but for the grace of God, because it's a wonder he hadn't struck you down.
I love when everybody throws the God thing into stuff, like immediately I feel bad for God, man, because people like use him like, yo, like God put me here. Did God put you in Tootsie's? Did God tell you to go to Tootsie's and go sit there at the strip club and use federal tax dollars
or make those phone calls from the yacht as you were taking wads of money?
Yeah, I mean, did God put you in that yellow suit so you could go run off to the strip club? I don't think God did that. Stop blaming God for stuff. Like it's just or giving God credit. Yeah. I mean, you'll never hear him say, this is one thing you'll never hear him say. He'll say, oh, God put me here. I'm still in the race. But he'll never say, God put me in the strip club. God put me in on that boat. God told me
to
take.
We have breaking news.
We got breaking news.
We have breaking news. So it looks like Chokwe has made a social media post that could prompt investigation.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. You read about it and tell us.
It says a decision to post Mayor at WLBT. This is from Anthony Warren, CJ LeMaster. Decision to post Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba's campaign speech on Jackson's official social media page on Tuesday could lead to an investigation whether his campaign violated a state statute. On Wednesday, the Mississippi Secretary of State's office confirmed it asked Attorney General Lynn Fitch to look whether Lumumba violated statute for allowing the campaign to be posted.
What has he not violated?
Yeah. I'm okay. Well, guys, I mean, look, I'm all about like beating them as much as you can, but this is directing and requesting or permitting an employee to render any aid to a candidate while the employee receives a salary or is being paid is in violation of Mississippi Code 2315-871. Watson's office said in a statement, because the video was distributed via the city's official Facebook page, we've sent this to the Attorney General as a potential violation. Look, Lynn, I say prosecute the crap out of him if you can do it.
People
Like,
are
what-
so
what
mad
is-
about everything that he's done for the past, however, since 2017, that they are going after any little bitty thing they can find. And I say, go for it.
I saw it when I was watching that thread on the city's site last night. I saw so many people comment and just raising hell. Like, dude, you ain't supposed to do this. I mean, people are going nuts about it. So, and I was like, wow, this is what angers you guys? Like, I'm angry about all the murder. But this is what
Yeah.
angers
And, you know,
guys.
so we ended up, we could only find one person who was actually live covering the numbers coming in, and that was Other Kane. We watched that for a few minutes last night and we're so disgusted by it that we said, let's go hit the live button and go live as we watch these numbers come in. So we did that. And Sean was so excited by the end of it that, you know, we were talking about how, what we should suggest him to do. And I was saying he should, you know, dye the rest of his his beard gray like he does that tip part and go into hiding. And you said, you know, we could dress you up like a Mexican and have you deported.
No, I said, I said that if I were Chokwe, I would call Donald Trump up and Tom Homan and say, look, you guys have already got like a real good setup of getting people to Mexico. Can I volunteer to go? I'd go, so look, it's a win-win for everybody because, like, you know, reduces the population but you know, and he gets to go to Mexico. We don't have to worry about him, save money on the prosecution. If I was him, I'd call Trump up and, you know, and you know, wear a MAGA hat and tell Donald how great he
ICE,
is.
where are you?
Let's say you love your immigration policy and ask to be deported. That's what I would do. If I was Chokwe right now, I'd try to become a Mexican as quick as I could because either that or go to a federal pound me in the ass prison. That's your other option. I mean, is that what you want to do?
And that's why Sean is wearing his hat
Yes.
today.
That's right. I'm wearing it.
On that note, we're going to take another break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. WYAB 103.9. And welcome back into Crossing the Aisle, where politics meets passion, literally. Even Sean wore his blue for Autism Awareness Day today.
Yeah.
I don't think he remembered. I think it just kind of was a coincidence, but
Well, this Van Halen shirt was sitting on my dresser, and I was like, okay, just wear that. That's my clothing selection.
You should have worn your Luck Chokwe shirt since we all got kind of lucky.
Yeah, no, I did.
That-
I mean,
that
well,
people
I'm
didn't get out and
wearing
vote.
this hat that depicts a fertile adult male chicken, according to Google, but it actually is a different word that we all know. But it's a fertile adult male chicken, Chokwe, that I have on this hat to refer to your future and to something you'll experience quite a bit of. So a fertile adult male
goodness.
chicken is depicted on my hat, and
Boys never really grow up, do they?
no, not at
They
all.
just never do.
I mean, whatever.
You're way so we're just way too happy about
I mean,
this.
he likes sex. He's gonna get a lot of it. I just think that's a good thing.
Just not with his wife, allegedly.
Well, I'm just saying he's going to a place where there'll be plenty of it, so he'll be fine.
Maybe we could get Other in there too.
Yeah, right. You can join him maybe.
So the WLBT has reached out to the Jackson Director of Communication, Melissa Faith Payne, for a statement on this social media post, his campaign speech that was posted to the Jackson, the city social media official Facebook page, and of course there has been no response from her. But did anybody really expect one?
Yeah, what was she gonna say? We effed up. I mean, like, sorry, like we are the dumbest administration ever. Like, literally.
And it looks like if he's convicted of violating that code section, he can face up to a year in county jail along with a $3,000 fine. So
County jail? Tyree, calling Sheriff Jones. If Sheriff Jones, if Chokwe goes to Raymond, can you put him in like a pod over there or something like that? Please, God, do that.
what is the A pod?
It's not a good place. Like,
okay.
Chokwe, go to a pod, have fun, or
I'm
B
not-
pod. I can't remember which one it is. One of the bad part. It's all wherever it's bad, put him there. And that's for 1 year in the county jail. I think that's almost worse than him going to. That's worse than him going to federal prison. Like, yeah,
you think so?
Oh yeah.
Well, then he'll be sitting in jail with the people who he has made life horrible for in their county.
Yeah, I mean, sure. He'll sit there, and I'm sure they'll be happy to see him. I'm sure they'll be happy to see him. But well, it seems like the mayor has come up with a lot of ways to send himself to some sort of prison, whether it be through the state or through the federal government.
Like he's going somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, so again, today you would think he would sit down and with his lawyers and seriously talk about, that he needs to flip on the district attorney, which is what, if I was his lawyer, I'd advise him, you need to do that today, do whatever you want. So I don't know if he's, I'm just wondering, Lindsay, if this, because we all talk about his arrogance and how bad it is, if this was enough to just give him a wake up call, like, wait a second, dude, you're about to lose and you're running out of time.
No, I don't think so, Sean, because literally his comment last night was, we're just going to get out there and do what we do. And we're going to knock every door and we're going to bring in all the reinforcements. So I don't know what reinforcements he's talking about bringing in.
He's got no reinforcements.
But
he has nothing.
I think he truly believes that he can pull this out somehow.
I don't think so. I think he had nothing else he could say. I don't think, what was he going to say? Oh yeah, I got my butt whooped. I mean, he can't, what's he going to say? I mean, he can't say
Maybe
that.
just make no comment.
No, he's got to say something. I mean, he's got to rattle the saber and say, yeah, you're coming, going to storm the beaches and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's got to say that.
Yeah.
I get it. Now, of course, he's got to say the stupid crap about the, Republicans that didn't happen. Everybody's going to see those numbers. Chokwe didn't happen. Sorry.
Your own people, Chokwe.
Black people beat you. They beat you to the ground.
They
voted
like against you. They saw that you've done nothing for them, and they were ready to take you down. And they did it. They almost did it. They almost did it in the primary last night. Really, really close.
Very close. Very close.
So, Sean, I think it's interesting this morning. I was listening and I heard you text in on Clay's show and say that he had Kingfish on and they were talking about a debate.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So I think there should definitely be a debate. I don't think any candidate should back down from a debate. You don't think John Horhn should, you think he's in a leadership position right now and the people have already basically chosen him and you don't think he should do that?
Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely not. I don't think it should be a debate. I can give you several reasons why. First of all, Chokwe Lumumba has not earned the right to a debate, and I'll tell you why. he lost by a more than 2-1 margin last night. The people already spoke. The reason John Horhn is not the Democratic nominee is because a bunch of other people decided to get in the race, too many people, and didn't let him get to that 50.1. He did an amazing job by getting to 48.4. That's number one. The people resoundingly rejected the mayor. Number two is Chokwe Lumumba had 8 years to debate. His message is clear. The city's seen his message over the course of nearly a decade. There's nothing more to learn from him. Like, we've seen it nearly a decade. John Horhn does not need to give him the right to talk and make up lies and do whatever and do a showmanship. It only would benefit him. Even then, even with the debate, I don't think it's going to help him. But I wouldn't give him the right to do that. He has not earned that right. He has destroyed the city. The city has seen what his message is. Doesn't need to show us what his message is. If he wants to show anybody his message, he can take it to the FBI.
But we have seen, though, in the past, we have seen primaries where the one who comes out on top and 3 weeks later it flips.
True.
And the challenger comes in and there's money poured into a campaign, and there are people who are volunteers pouring into campaigns, and all of a sudden that it's flipped. So you don't think it could benefit Horhn in any way, shape, or form to get his message out and to really, I think someone needs to really hit Chokwe with the hard questions, and I feel like no one's really done that thus far.
I don't think so at all. And here, I know people in debate, and here again, here's why. The message is clear, and it was made clear by the voters last night. 11,909 votes. Chokwe got 4,124 votes. Clear. Everybody knows what Chokwe Lumumba is about, and the voters said that last night. They've spoken. There is nothing to hammer him with anymore. If I was John Horhn, what I do right now is work on my turnout. I'd take a knee and run out the clock. That's what you do right now. You don't give Chokwe an opportunity to talk about anything, because all he's going to do is talk about stuff and lie and try to sound good on TV. He's good at that. He's a good speaker.
Yeah, he's good at that.
He doesn't deserve that. He's had he's at 8 years to show what he can do. We've seen it. And there's nothing more to learn from him. So now the situations you're talking about, yes, that happens a lot. I'll go back to 2013. His dad, who I actually liked, and he debated Jonathan Lee. Jonathan Lee had a chance to win that election. Now Chokwe Lumumba Sr. killed him in that 2013 debate. I'll never forget watching him, just crushed him. And that's what kind of put him over the top. Now, that election was two challengers, being Chokwe Lumumba Sr. and Jonathan Lee. They weren't the incumbent mayor. The incumbent mayor at the time was Harvey Johnson, and he didn't make the runoff. So if I remember that, I'm remembering my history right. And so that was two challengers. So that thing happened that way. I can see it in that context. But here, we don't have.
So
we have
funny
one
you
challenger.
can remember these details from an election in 2013, but you can't remember things I tell you yesterday.
Because the things you tell me suck most of the time. But like, I just don't.
Sean!
That's why I try to
selective hearing, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, what? I mean, it's always,
rude.
Well, it's usually about some murder mystery or some, whatever. Like, oh, don't you remember when I said that? No. I don't. I'm like any other guy out there listening. We don't listen to you women. Like, we just don't.
Obviously.
We just,
obviously. You're not getting any points with female listeners.
It helps
right
us
now.
live longer. If we listen to you guys, we run crazy.
That's a dollar. Where's my swear jar? I'm bringing it.
Yeah, we run crazy
every time.
You're like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. But yeah, so that happened, and that benefited Chokwe Sr. Chokwe Sr. was a great debater too. His son is a good speaker. So no, I think anybody that thinks a debate is good for John Horhn is absolutely wrong.
I can see both sides of it.
It's just, I don't see how it helps. You won a resounding victory last night. There's like Donald Trump made the right move during the Republican primaries. He didn't debate because why would he? He didn't need to. He had the votes. He didn't need to give those guys an opening. They wanted it
during all the Republican primaries.
Yeah, he didn't need to do that because he knew he had it. John Horhn has the prize. Like, got his eyes on it right now. He doesn't need to give Chokwe an opportunity. There's no reason to do that. It doesn't make any sense. And nobody's going to care if he doesn't debate. Nobody's sitting here. I mean, we couldn't even get, how many people turned out yesterday? 24,000. Nobody's going to be like, well, you know what? I ain't voting for John Horhn. I'm going to vote for Chokwe now because he didn't debate him. No.
I love your Mississippi accent.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to happen. Like, nobody's not voting for John Horhn that voted for John Horhn because he didn't debate Chokwe. Like, that's not going to happen. It's not going to like, well, guess you know what? They didn't debate, so let's forget about the yacht and the strip club. They're not going to do that. So no, don't give him a chance. He doesn't need any chance to galvanize anybody. I'd let him just suck on it. That's what I would do. Yeah, that's what I would do. If I was running John Horhn's campaign, suck on it, Chokwe.
Well, not surprisingly, we did see in the special elections in Florida yesterday, the Republicans come out with victories. A friend of mine, Marie Roderson, worked on Fine's campaign, Randy Fine, and she said this morning that she wished she could have stayed out and partied and
Were you
celebrated, but
shifting
they were.
gears to?
Yeah, I'm shifting gears
Okay.
for a minute. What else do you want to say about Chokwe?
No, I mean he sucks. He can suck on it. That's it. I'm done.
But they were headed to Washington to get him settled in, and then of course in Wisconsin, unfortunately, all that money that Elon poured into that race
Yeah.
didn't go his way.
No, I mean it did not. Actually they thought. Didn't you tell me, everybody? You were paying attention a little more than me initially, but
Yeah,
it was supposed to be close.
it
wasn't
was. Yeah, it was like dead tied according to the polls, and I believe he ended up, or no, she ended up winning
by 10
by
points.
10 points, and I think ran basically solely on
Yep.
abortion issues. And
I wonder if I've ever told you that before. That would win. Oh no, I don't know who that was.
this is an area where we strongly disagree. I'm very much pro-life. Sean is not.
Nope.
And I guess Wisconsin voters are not pro-life either. At least
apparently not, Lindsay.
At least the ones that voted and helped this person become the next Supreme Court judge there. But we'll see how that.
Well, yeah. So
that
10-point win. So a total smackdown. Yeah, I think there's two issues here. Abortion, which most people want. I think that's the percentage of the population nationwide.
That's your opinion.
I mean, it's not my opinion. It's the outcome of the polls in most states. The only states I think that actually voted against it, even in the fall, were Florida, which you had to hit a 60% margin and only hit like 57%. Okay, so
we're not going to let you vote.
So 57% of the people wanted it. So yeah. Anyway, but it's not enough there. And then I think it was like South Dakota or something like that, which I mean, like 6 people live there. So I mean, the like
so
okay,
ridiculous.
We don't have abortion in South Dakota. Well, great. I mean, you got that in like a mountain lion, whatever. The or whatever's in South Dakota. I don't even know the wildlife there, but the. But my point is Wisconsin, yeah. So you go to a state like Wisconsin when like people live and stuff, and there's like folks there.
People live in every state.
I mean,
Sean.
I mean, how many people live in South Dakota? Like 5.
Come on now.
I mean, like
more
5
than 5
people live there. So yeah, that issue is going to help. And then the second issue is Elon Musk. So I looked at Elon Musk's approval ratings right now.
But he like $15 million into that one Supreme Court race
People
in Wisconsin.
And I don't, me, actually, I like Elon. I don't have an Elon problem, but his approval rating is like 30% or something crazy like that. Like people hate him right now. Like they need to put him in the basement of the White House. Trump needs to be like, Elon, you need to go to Mar-a-Lago and just chill.
Yeah, I said that yesterday.
It ain't working.
I feel like he could have been more successful had he sent the money to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And stayed back and wasn't there and so publicly.
Yeah, the Republican strategy here was like, hey, we're going to get rid of abortion, and here's Elon Musk who's cutting all these jobs. That's not really a winning message.
Yeah, I know. So I just think about all that money that was poured into that race, and then all that money that the Democratic Party poured into the race in Florida. And I'm like, gosh, that's so much money that's just blown. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and they did win those 2 Florida congressional. They were supposed to win those. They didn't win them by now. Those were
not by 30 points margin like Trump did, but still a resounding pretty big margin.
Yeah, they were plus. Trump won those districts by 30 points. And the last congressional candidate, which was Mike Waltz, Signalgate Mike Waltz,
yeah,
he won by 30 points just in the fall in November. Now, of course, like you got to take this with a grain of salt. There's special elections.
Let me see if I can make this work this time. Wait a minute, they hung up. Okay, call back, caller.
You gotta take it with a grain of salt. There's special elections as well. So how many people are getting out there to vote?
Hey, you're on the air.
Yeah.
Are you there? Guess not.
We need to get you.
No, it was there that time. I could hear the background, so I don't know what happened.
What's those books are like Dummy's Guide for Answering the Telephone?
Look, I love how he's over there. He is over there with his iPad, just looking at news. He's not over here punching buttons, but he's gonna.
Those like yellow books are like Dummy's Guide to Shakespeare. Like it's got all the.
We got to take our last commercial break, guys. We'll be right back. Stay with us. WYAB 103.9. Welcome back in to Crossing the Aisle with Sean and Lindsay. And we want to thank our sponsors. We've got some really great sponsors, one of them being Sean's law firm, the Yerkeron Law Firm, which you heard him reading his ad during one of our commercial breaks. So good job, Sean.
Thanks. Yeah, I did it myself.
You want to, I guess, tell them your phone number again in case anybody needs you?
Yeah, it's 601-862-1320.
Actually, you'll get me when you call that number.
And that's right. She answers the phone. So you can give me a call that, or you can go to onetextlaw.com, and that's onetextlaw.com.
So if you took a bribe from the FBI and you got on a yacht, or you posted a campaign speech to a social media, a public official social media site that it was not supposed to be posted to, give Sean a call and he can help you out there.
I do have one thing real quick.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, Mayor Coxwell, is he's a lawyer in town. He's pushing to help a guy named Locke Ward, who cleans up the neighborhoods, I believe is what it is. I don't know if you heard of him. And they've got a fundraiser for Clean Up Jackson. And they're doing a fundraiser over at Cathead Distillery.
That's perfect because they're cleaning it up already by last night's votes.
May 2nd, they're Friday, May 2nd. They're going to have bands and whatnot, and it all goes to Clean Up Jackson, to clean up, because we know the city really needs clean, not only politically, but the trash everywhere that Chokwe Lumumba has done nothing about. Yet another thing. So if
taking out the trash, literally and figuratively.
Everybody loves Cathead. It's fun. Go out there and support that on Friday, May the 2nd.
Cathead actually sponsored one of my podcasts one time when we were watching that was the Biden-Trump debate. That was a fun one, you know. And we also want to thank Pure Air Consultants, another one of our sponsors. And if you ever wonder why your air conditioner has stopped working, the common reasons for these issues include issues like a flip switch, a dirty condenser, improperly sized unit, an older unit, or a malfunctioning thermostat. For over 40 years, Pure Air Consultants has been delivering exceptional cooling systems to Central Mississippi, and they want to offer you a rare gift, a free labor warranty for 5 years, new construction build, thermostat installation, and more. And also, financing is available, and that's a must these days with the way prices are. So Pure Air Consultants also specializes in air duct cleaning, air duct sealing, and dry vent cleaning. So make sure that the air you breathe is as clean and fresh as possible. So contact them today, mypureairconsultants.com.
I'm actually not kidding. I'm calling to call them this week because
you should.
Here's the one thing I never do, Lindsay. Like, I always forget to do that yearly maintenance on my AC. To do that, and I every year I'm like, I'm going to do it, and then something goes wrong with the AC, and I have to call. I still have a home warranty after all these years because I don't know how to fix a dang thing, and so this is why, like 10 years after owning the home, I still have that. So, but I always mean to, I'm going to service the AC, and then
one thing they do too is clean out your dryer vents from your dryer, which you don't need that because I tore yours up and you had to get a new one.
Lindsay broke my dryer, and the warranty company replaced it with a new dryer after, and then she said, "Look, I got you a new dryer." And I'm like, "Oh,
aren't you proud of me?
That's really great. I appreciate that." I got a brand new dryer because Lindsay ruined the dryer.
I think I overloaded it.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens when you have a lot of clothes. You have 5 kids.
Yeah. It was overloaded.
That's one thing Pure Air Consultants does too. And I think that's what a lot of people don't think about.
Well, you should pay for that. Call Pure Air Consultants and make sure they do that, since you use my dryer all the time.
I will, although you have a brand new one. It doesn't need to be done.
Yes, it doesn't right now, but they need to come do the AC. So everybody call them and get them to, we're about to start the summer. It's going to be hotter than anything in the world. And you should call them up.
All right, it's time for us to go, but we will be right back here tomorrow, same time, same place. You can find us on social media at Sean Yerkeron, Lindsay Beckham, or Crossing the Aisles Facebook page. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.